kicked us all out. Hopefully everyone's getting back in. And we were just talking about, we were just reviewing what we've done so far, and then we're going to spend a little time sharing for anyone who would like to share what they've been working on. So we spent some time in the Shochen Ad section, the beginning of Shacharit. We spent some time on that Nusach. We talked about the themes of that section. Then we moved into Baruch Hu, and just after Baruch Hu is Yotzer Or, which really broadly speaking is the light section. If you want to pick one word to categorize that section, it's light, though there's more to it than just light, but it's the light section. We talked about light, about creation, and I'm just going to mute everyone, but I'll allow you to unmute yourself if you have any questions or comments. So that's kind of where we've been. And then last week we ended at Eladon, which we're going to spend a little more time talking about before we move on today. But before we talk about Eladon, I just would like to open it up to anyone, even if you already shared last week, or if you didn't, it's okay. Anyone who would like to share what they've been working on. You could even share the same thing you did last week if you've been practicing it. In the Shochen Ad section, any of that stuff that we've talked about so far, would anyone like to do any of that?
Including the Eladon?
Sure, we can go ahead and open it up for that too, because one of the assignments I had given was to share if you might have an Eladon that you grew up with or one that you love. So that's fine too. Let's just wait just to see if there's any Shochen Ad takers and then do the Eladon, but we'll do that too. Shochen Ad or that section, of Makalot or Yishtabach. Anyone in there who want to try that? Do I see?
I can do like the first part.
Oh, good. Okay, let's hear it.
What page? Find out.
Wait, do you know what page it is in like the gray book?
In the red.
This isn't the gray book. This is the red book.
Oh wait, red book. What page is it?
Okay, in the red Lev Shalem, Shochen Ad is on 147.
Thank you. Shochen Ad Maro V'Kadosh Shemo.
Wow, very nice. Your sound is coming in and out a little bit, but what I heard was right on. It was the Nusach that we worked on, and that's a great start. So keep going with that. Keep working on it. Anyone else would like to share? Helene, I see you smiling. No? Yes?
Fine. I'm not very good at it, but I'll start with it. Shochen Ad Marom V'Kadosh Shemo V'Chatu Rananu Tzadikim Bananai Sharim Nava Tehila. This is where it gets tricky. V'Fi Yesharim Tithalal U'Divrei Tzadikim Titbarach U'Vilshon Chasidim Titramam U'Kerev Kedoshim Titkadash U'Machalot Rivavot Amcha Beit Yisrael. And that's not good at the next one. I've been working on the next one.
That's a beautiful start. And what I really like that you did, you definitely have the Nusach. And what I like, even where you were unsure and stuff, you were in the Nusach and you just kept going and you picked those key endings and things that let us know that you were in the Nusach. And that's the right thing to do. In fact, one of my teachers, well, one of my main teachers, Cantor Nate Lamb, said sometimes when you get stuck, and it happens to everybody, just stay on the note where you are and then do the right ending. So maybe you're davening along and you're kind of like, I'm lost a little bit, and you just say so you get that ending. You chanted the whole thing on the same note, and then you got that ending, and the ending gets you back. And what you were doing was sort of like that. You hit those main pieces, those endings, and those little phrases. So you've got the Nusach. It's a muscle that has to get worked out. Just keep
working on it.
Just keep working it out, and you're
much better at Eladon. So
All right. Okay. Well, we'll
We'll
hear
get
that in a
there.
minute. Anyone else want to share? Shira. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
I did the Shulchan last time, so I thought I'd do the Uva Makilot.
Great.
So I think I managed to do the relative major this time. It
Okay.
sounds a little bit like Lord of the Rings, but you'll forgive me.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. ובמקהלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור, שכן חובת כל היצורים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו.
You did it. That's it. You did it. Yeah. You've definitely got those moves and you're applying them to the Hebrew. You have an advantage over a lot of us because you're a native Hebrew speaker. And so that gives you insight on how to use the melodies and where to use those moves. So I like what you did. I think that's beautiful. Keep going.
Did I get the relative did I
You
get
got
the
it. You
major
got it.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
na, na, na.
Yeah.
You got it. You got it.
Okay, I played it on the piano just to make sure that I was doing
Yeah.
it right.
You got it. Anyone else want to give it a try?
Well, I know, let's see, page 148.
Okay.
It's
Sure.
at the arrow.
Okay. Brachot.
Berachot v'hodaot me'ata v'ad olam. Baruch atah Adonai el melech gadol batishbachot el ha'odaot Adon haniflaot habocher b'shirei zimra melech el ha'olamim.
Very nice. Very nice. So again, you had some of those moves in there, and you got the most important part, especially that ending. Olamim. That's what reinforces the Nusach that we're in. And so I think it's good. I think just keep working. Anyone else want to do anything from this section before we move on to El Adon?
I can do
Daniel?
the Uv Machalot because
Great.
I didn't do that last
Yeah,
week.
do it, please.
Uv Machalot Rivavot Amecha Beit Yisrael Sheken Chovat Kol Hatzurim Lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu Velohei Avotenu Lehodot Lehalel Leshabeach Lefaer Leromem Lehader Levarech Le'alel Kales Al Kol Divrei Shirot V'tishbachot David ben Yishai Avdecha Meshichecha.
Beautiful. What I liked there was your improvisation within the modes that we talked about and sort of some variations on that, and it all worked. I especially liked that area where you kind of went up. It was sort of like you were doing a cascade, but you kind of went back and forth. I think it was like in Le Romem Lahader Levarech. What you were doing there was a version of the cascade, a version of coming down the scale. You did it kind of up and down, working your way down. I thought it worked and it was nice.
Thank you. If I'm perfectly honest, I just memorized someone else doing that.
Well,
So I wasn't improvising as such, but seems to be the easiest way to start.
I think it's a good strategy. And the first way that I learned Shacharit was exactly copying somebody. And I think for some people that is the best way. And then for a long time, that's how I did it. And it was like the same way every time. And it's just exactly like the way I had memorized it. And then as I became more comfortable in the Nusach, now each Shabbat, I have moments that are the same, but each time it varies a little bit because now I'm just sort of in that mode and I'm not thinking about the exact notes or anything anymore. I used to be, but so I think copying someone is a great strategy for starting, and especially for some people, I think that's a good start, good way to work.
Yeah, I realized too that when I read Hebrew that I know it already by heart, but in a different melody, and then I apply a new melody to it, then that's kind of an in-between where like you have to start trying to fit the melody to words that you already know.
Right.
And that's a good exercise to start to improvise.
Yeah, for sure. We're about to move on to El Adon. Someone asked me the page number for that. It's on page 151 in the red Lev Shalem. In the old Sim Shalom, it's on 342. Did I get everyone? Is there anyone else who wanted to share Shochenad stuff before we go to Eladon?
I had a really quick question
Mhm.
about the Yotzel O. I think I emailed you, but probably too late. What part did you say that we really need to read, and what part was mumble, mumble, mumble?
Oh, right. Okay, so like in the red book, I know you have a different siddur than me, but so you're like just right after the Baruch Hu, I would say that bracha, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer borei choshech, oseh shalom borei et hakol. Then I would just open the next paragraph. You could either do that by just the first couple of words or by the first sentence. I do the whole first sentence. You could just do the first words. You could say, Hakol yoducha, just like that. And then mumble, mumble, mumble. I do Hakol yoducha ve'akol yishabechucha ve'akol yomiru en kadosh kadonai. Mumble, 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 mumble. That's how I do it. And till you get to the arrow. And then the arrow is the chatima. That it will vary maybe depending on the siddur that you're using. My arrow starts here at Ein Ke'ercha ve'Ein Zulatecha. The old Sim Shalom started at Ve'Ein Zulatecha, Malkeinu L'chaya Ha'olam Haba. So those are the two most common places, but just go whatever siddur you're using.
Thank you.
And and whatever kahal you're with, you should be, using whatever they're using. That's where you would do it. So it's just that bracha, the opening, and the chatima. Anything else on Shochenad before we go to Eladon? So let's move to Eladon. So I had emailed out 2 challenges for this. One was just to read through this and look for themes and keywords. I hope you had a chance to do that. And the other was if you had a special melody that you grew up with or one that you just love that you would like to sing for us to share. So so let's do that. It's a long song, so don't sing the whole Eladon, but let's sing like one verse of it so we can hear your melody and give people some chances to share. So Phyllis has one for sure. Let's do that. Oh, you're muted again. There you are.
Growing up in CBI, I did it one way, and then I heard you do the way I really like it a whole lot, and I think you did this last Shabbat. So with apologies to what you do brilliantly. El Adon al kol ha'ma'asim, Baruch Baruch b'fi kol neshama, Gadlo v'tuvo malei olam da'at, Udvuno sovavimoto. I'm going to just go to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Hamid Nael, Hayod HaKodesh, V'nedar V'chavot, Al Merkava, Zechutu Mishor, Lifnei Kiso, Chesed V'rachamim, Lifnei Kivodo.
Beautiful. So that melody, you guys probably recognize it. Yes.
Thank you. I learned it from you.
Is the Karlbach Esa'ene. Esa'ene El Harim. I love that melody. I got my son's name from that melody when I was just barely pregnant. I didn't even know it was a boy yet, but I did know it was a boy, and I knew his name was Ezra. But so 2 notes, and this is not just for you, Phyllis, this is for everybody. On the 3rd line, Godlo is Godlo, not Godlo. It's a kamatz katan, and the red lev shalem gives you a little trick to know that. It's a pronunciation, it's a Hebrew pronunciation thing. The trick is that, the kamatz is the little vowel that looks like a T, and when it's a kamatz katan, it's a little bit longer T. And in the red lev shalem, you can see that. And so when it's that longer kamatz katan, or when it's a kamatz katan, when it's a big, whatever, I'm not saying it right. When it's the longer kamatz, it's godlo and not godlo. The old Sim Shalom actually has a trick as well. The way they handled that, the katan had a little break in it. So if you have that siddur, you can see that katan, it's like a T that's been slightly torn apart as opposed to the regular one. So that's how they handle it. So that's how you know it's godlo. And then in the second stanza, the first word, Hamitga'eh. I might have heard it wrong, but I just want to make sure you have that one. Hamitga'eh al chayot hakodesh. So these are hard words in this piyut. So that's for everybody. Thank you, Phyllis, for sharing that melody. It's a really good one.
Can I
Anyone else
ask
have one?
another vowel
Yes, please.
question?
Please.
So A, as we say it in English, versus I know there's the 2 dots versus the 3 dots, but are there really any difference?
Yeah.
Do we
so
have those sounds?
The 3 dots is a segol, and that's an sound, like chesed or melech. What's it called? Tzareh? Is that what the 2 dots are? Shira, tzareh. Yeah, tzareh is the 2 dots, and that's a little bit longer vowel sound. A little bit like I'm looking for one. Like I see samechim down in the 4th stanza. Samechim, not samechim. Samechim.
So then unless we have like an ah and then a yud or something, we're not going to get an I sound, right?
The yud makes it even longer vowel sound. So that would be almost like a diphthong, like I, like that. So
Yeah. Okay. So that's how you get to it. Yeah.
Right. Seeing if we have one of those here with the I.
How about the fourth 1, 2, 3, fourth stanza? Isn't it at the very end? Osim be'ema.
Right. Osim be'ema. And yeah, that's so it's A, and it's even ema because of the yud. It has a little bit longer. Yeah. Where you can really hear it is when you have a what's it called? The straight line, the cholam, I think. And then a yud, I, like that's where you can really hear it. Am I saying that right, Shira?
Sorry, I was practicing and I missed what you just said.
No, we're just talking about when the different vowels and the
patach.
Right, the patach, right,
patach.
Patach, right. That's the one. So that's when I think you can really hear that yud is when you have a patach, the straight line. It's an ah sound followed by a yud. That's the I. It's like a diphthong. So that's where you can really hear that I drawing it out. The tzareh followed by the yud also draws it out, but you can't hear it as much because there's A and there's A. I mean, it's not as dramatic of a change, but it does change it a little bit. Does that answer your question, Nathaniel? Linda has a question.
So I just wanted to follow up in Shochen at the end of 106, where it says ale. It's really, so what Nathaniel was asking, that wouldn't be L.
Yes, you're right. Ale.
So it's a long A.
It's ale. Yeah, ale.
Because what he was asking, I've heard many people say the also with 2 dots. The
Right. It's.
Could I add a comment?
Yeah, who's talking? Sure.
Chuck.
Yes, please.
The Israelis differentiate between a tzareh Malay and a tzareh Hasar, full and empty. And very common, Israelis laugh at Americans for saying Cain rather than Ken.
Right.
So.
Right. No, that's a great point.
So the tzareh without the yud is pronounced the same as a segol.
The same as a segol, or maybe
no, it's exactly the same.
Okay, I kind of thought of them as like shades of gray. Like there was the segol, and then there was the tzareh, and then there's like the tzareh with the yud.
Yeah, well, it's like Lev Shalem. Americans say Lev Shalem, and Israelis say Lev Shalem, and we can argue about that. But we're in this country, so they're both correct.
Right.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, good questions. Anyone else for Ella Doan? Anyone want to share a melody before we move on to our next section? So let's go ahead and move. If there's no one else who'd like to share, Carl, did I see your finger? No? Okay. All right.
Kira wants to do it.
Sorry. Oh, who does? Did I miss someone?
Kira.
Oh, good. Yeah, sure. Oh, good.
Well, it's just the one that we heard last time, so it's nothing new. El Adon al kol ha'ma'asim, baruch hu mevorach befi kol hanshama, godlo ve'tuvo, male olam da'at ותותונה סובבים עודו, המתקהל על חיות הקודש, ונהדר בכבוד על המרכבה.
I love that one. Yeah, I love that one a lot. Okay, beautiful. Anyone else want to share?
Mine was the same as Phyllis, so I can just
Okay.
say it was what Phyllis did.
Okay. 2 votes for that one. Thank you guys for being brave and for sharing and for continuing to work. And we're going to move on to a new section, but I just want to encourage you to keep working on this Shulchan Ad section. Keep working on your Nusach. Even those of you who've already shared and are already doing stuff, keep doing it, because these melodies have to cook. You know, it's like it's in you, it's got to cook. And then something good will really come out of it. So keep going. So I'd like to move to our next section. So immediately following Eladon, we're on page now 152 in the Lev Shalem, and we're still on 342 in the Old Sim Shalom. The paragraph immediately following Eladon is La'el Asher Shavat. And right here, the Nusach changes. And I want to talk a little bit about the Nusach, and then I want to talk a little bit about the prayers. So up until this point, we've been in the same Nusach. It's the Shulchan Ad Nusach. It's also called the Nishmat Nusach because it comes from Nishmat Kol Chai, which is just before Shulchan Ad. That minor key, that yai nai 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 nai, that we've all been doing it. Hopefully you guys have heard it enough now. You're like, okay, I know what that one is. Now, starting here at La'el Asher Shavat, we change to the Ahavah Rabbah mode, also known as Fregish. If you're a musician, Fregish is kind of the more technical term, and Ahavah Rabbah is sort of the mode, the name that we call it. It's the mode that sounds Jewish. It's the Hava Nagila mode. And on Shabbat, it sounds like okay, that's the really basic version of it. There's many variations and flowery things that you can do, but that is the sort of like bread and butter version of the Fregish Ahavah Rabbah mode, and it starts here at La'el Asher Shavat. So what I'd like to quickly do is just look. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, someone else. Shalom Aleichem, yes, also. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm just going to play you. Okay, there we are. So here's our friend, Rabbi Haskel Lookstein. We heard from him before. I'd like to just play a sample of him in this mode. This is coming from this new section. It's actually on the next page if you're looking in Lev Shalem, but it's not really important that you look along with him. Just listen. That's what I just want you to hear him do this.
וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ובנימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ויאמרים ביראה.
Okay.
וכולם
And one more example for you to listen to, Cantor Paul Kowarski. He's going to actually do the exact, is everyone hearing? Everyone's hearing? Okay, just nod. Okay, good. He's going to do I cut him on the exact same portion that that Lookstein just did. Get on the right button here. This button is kind of like wiggly. Okay.
וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ובנעימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה.
Okay. So just like we did for the Shulchan Ad Nusach, I'm going to give you 3 steps for this. We did 5 for Shulchan Ad. I'm going to give you 3 for this one. there's many more than 3, and there's a lot more that you can do with this Nusach. And you can hear just from those 2 recordings that they were different and they were the same. Just like in Shulchan Aruch, they're using all the ingredients, they're making their challahs, but they do it a little differently. And that's how Nusach works. So for Ahavah Rabbah mode, and I want to mention something. We call it Ahavah Rabbah mode because this new section that we're in that just started with La'el Asher for Shabbat, we're finishing up Yotzer Or, and then we move into Ahavah Rabbah, which is the second bracha before Shema. So we're finishing up Yotzer Or, the light section. We're about to move into Ahavah Rabbah, the love section. And this Nusach is actually named because of Ahavah Rabbah, because we're in the mode when we do Ahavah Rabbah. I'm going to make a note about that when we get to Ahavah Rabbah, because we often sing it in a different melody. But just know that's why we call it Ahavah Rabbah mode. I'm going to share my screen one more time here. And so here's the 3 steps that I want to share with you. And if you don't read music, don't worry about this. This is just to help you. So the opening step is the first line here. Just like that. If I was putting it to these words below, I would say, I pledge allegiance to the flag. Just like that. Just see what so I pledge allegiance to the flag. Okay, that's the opening statement. Just stay on pause, stay on mute, and sing it with me. We'll do it with the words. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Okay, I know it might feel weird to do it to English, but we're just doing this to hear the melody right now. The second line, which is still part of the opening, is identical to the first line except for the first note. So we just went second line will be It's the exact same thing except that it started up here where the first one started down there. Does that make sense? So if you were looking at these 2 lines of music, even if you don't read music, you can see that they're identical except for the 2 notes in blue. I made them in blue on purpose so you could see that the first note is different. On the first one, it starts down here, and on the second one, it starts up here. So if I was going to read this whole phrase, I would do it like this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Like that. So it's the same thing. I just did it 2 times in a row, but that second line is just like a variation on the first. Stay on mute, sing it with me with the words. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Okay, we're gonna go to the next slide here. Let's see. There we go. All right, so here are some examples. I need to move this out of the way so I can see it. Okay, there we go. So just the first line here. Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim. Staying on mute, do it with me. Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim. Anyone brave just want to try that line? Just unmute. Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim. No takers? It's okay. Oh, someone's got it? Helene, okay.
Kulam ahuvim, kulam berumim.
Beautiful. Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim. Anyone else? So I'm not going to ask for volunteers on the second line, but here's how I would do the second line. I'll do the 2 lines together. Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim, kulam giburim vechulam osim be'emav yira ritzon konam. See what I just did? So I just used those 2 opening statements that we worked on with the Pledge of Allegiance. The first one starts down here. The second one starts up here. Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim, kulam giburim vechulam osim be'emav yira ritzon konam. I'm going to bring up another example. This is another example. The first line. Veha ofanim v'chayot hakodesh. Just stay on mute and try it with me. Veha ofanim v'chayot hakodesh. Let's do it again. Veha ofanim v'chayot hakodesh. Anyone feeling brave? Want to try that line? Linda.
V'ha'ofanim v'chayot hakodesh.
Beautiful. Nice job. Anyone else? So if I was doing the two lines, again, it would go like this. Ve'ha'ofanim v'chayot ha'kodesh b'rash gadol mitnasa'im le'omat serafim. Okay? One more example here. Oh, here we are. I gotta move my screen back around so I can see. Here we go. All right, this one I know you know the words of. Ahavah Rabbah ahavtanu. Sing it with me. Ahavah Rabbah ahavtanu. And if we were doing both the lines, I would say, Ahavah Rabbah ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Okay? Let's do it together again, those two lines. Ahavah Rabbah ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Anyone feeling brave want to tackle both those lines? Linda.
Well, I don't know that I want to be brave. I'm curious how you know when to go up and down. So I would have done it differently.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that mine is right and yours is wrong.
Okay.
As the Baal Tefillah, the Baalat Tefillah, it's your job to know the words and apply the melody in a way that's appropriate. There's not an objectively right answer. Now there may be some, pieces of text or some melodies that, some ways that someone did it is maybe more appropriate than others, maybe. But I think that there's definitely room for interpretation here. Do you want to do it the way you were envisioning it?
Well, I would have done the emphasis on the Ahavah Rabbah ahavtanu. So I would have gone up
I think
sooner,
it's fine.
but I don't know the meanings. I mean, I know some of the words, but I don't know where to emphasize.
So
Adonai Eloheinu.
I think the way you did it is fine. The reason, so I did Ahavah Rabbah because I see that as a word pair. It's at least Rabbah is altering Ahavah. So it's Ahavah Rabbah means a great love. Ahavah is love, and Rabbah is a great love. So I'm envisioning that. I'm just gonna go back here so I can see all your faces. So I'm looking at that as a pair. So I'm saying Ahavah Rabbah ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu. But those are really detailed, preferences there. And I think that there's certainly room for interpretation as you're working on it. I think if you're not a native Hebrew speaker, it's probably best to listen to a few examples and pick one to copy. If you're unsure, to talk to somebody who has experience. But there is certainly room for interpretation there.
I have a question.
Yes.
Usually, when we're doing the tune of it,
Can I stop you?
It's a little bit
Can I?
different than the one I'm used to. Is it just because it's not exactly Ahavah Rabbah?
Can I stop you? Here, I'm gonna just.
a tune that it's easy?
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop you for 1 second. We're having trouble with your sound. We can't hear you. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn off your video just briefly. Now ask your question. Let me see if I can hear you. I can still hear you. Can you
hear me?
Yeah, keep talking.
Okay. So when we're doing the the part and having the tune, we were supposed to do it like Ahavah Rabbah. But the tune that I'm personally used to is a little bit it's different than the one you the one that you're talking about. Is it just because the Ahavah Rabbah, the way you sing it can be interpreted in different ways, or is it because this prayer is going to be it's not actually Ahavah Rabbah, it's a little bit different?
Okay, so it was really hard to hear you, but I think I heard your question. I think, and it's a point that I wanted to talk about anyway. So let's definitely talk about this. So I think what you're asking, and you're welcome to turn your video back on if you'd like. I turned it off just to try to hear you better. So has anyone in Shul ever really heard anyone do Ahavah Rabbah to this Nusach? Ahavah Rabbah ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu. You might have heard it, but what you probably have heard is Ahavah, Rabbah, Ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu. That's what we typically sing here. And I think this is the question that, that is being asked, but I'm not totally sure. And so this is definitely an important thing to know. So the song that we sing, which is the minhag at CBI and in many, many places, is not actually in the Nusach. Oh, okay, here, I'll turn your video back on for you. Sorry about that. Just a second. There you go. Sorry about that. There you go. Thanks for your question. So I hope I'm answering the right question. So the song that we sing, Ahavah, Rabbah, Ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, is not actually in Fraigish. I don't know the origin of this melody, but I know that it's a very common, popular, quote, traditional melody for many congregations, including ours. I use it. So as a leader, I think it's fine to use it. In fact, I think you should use it because people are expecting that there, and it's the minhag. But yeah, technically it's not in the Nusach. And it's kind of funny. We call this Nusach, the Fraigish Nusach, Ahavah Rabbah, and most people are like, huh? Because they don't know Ahavah Rabbah to that sound. So if that's your question, and I hope it is, it's an important point that to make. If I'm in a hurry for some reason on Shacharit, or particularly on Chag, when I'm going to be doing a longer repetition or Hallel or something like that, I will often skip singing Ahavah Rabbah in that melody, and I will just open it like we did Ahavah Rabbah, Ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, mumble, 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 till I get to the Chatimah. And I do that to save time. So it's important to know that the song we sing is not in the Nusach, but it's okay. Generally, congregational singing, if you're a leader, should be in the Nusach or at least complementary to the Nusach. I think in this case, it is complementary, and it certainly is a minhag that is worth, keeping. So that's hopefully shed some light on that. I want to go back to this to these Nusach slides really quick and just share. So I told you there was 3 steps, and I want to share the middle one and the end one because that's all that's left. So we already talked about this opening. And now I want to talk about the middle. I'm moving this around so I can see you. Okay. So we already talked about the opening, which was now let's just say we're kind of in the middle of something. We're in the middle of a phrase. We're in the middle of a paragraph, and we need to keep chanting. So here's some ways you could do that. The top line, it's really just a reiteration of that opening line. So it's not even really different than the opening line. So all I'm singing here is the top line of music. You could say, and to the republic for which it stands, or a variation on the same thing. That's the second line. One nation under God, one nation under God. So, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. Those 2 things are really just variations on the same thing. You could use them interchangeably. You could use just one of them or the other of them. And that's just kind of a middle piece. Like if you're in the middle of something, you've already opened it with the first move. Now you're in the middle. You need to kind of keep it going until you get to the end. And then I want to show you the ending. So the key part, just on this top line, are those 2 blue notes. If I was doing it to these words below, I would say indivisible with liberty and justice for all, just like that. That's a nice, clean, simple way to do it. You could do a chatimah, like a final blessing. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hameorot, to that ending. And this is how you would end a paragraph or do a bracha in this mode. The second line is just a slightly fancier version of the same thing. You don't need to use both, but you certainly can if you like them, or you can use one or the other. Either one is fine. So the second line goes like this. Like that. I really wouldn't use it with indivisible because it kind of sounds weird with that word, but I'll show you how it would go. indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It will probably sound better like Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. But what you can see in these two lines is really just versions of the same thing. This is just a way to end it. So the Ahavah Rabbah mode, the Fragish mode, is really just three parts. The opening, the middle, which is just kind of a embellishment really of the opening, and the ending, okay? So that's really the three parts: the opening, the middle, the ending. And I will send you, when I do a follow-up email, I will send you those slides that we just looked at so you can use them, especially those of you who like to do it on the piano. And that is really a simple and very basic Nusach. And this section from La'el Asher Shabbat on 152, right after Eladon, up to the Shema is in this mode. This mode will also come back when we get to the repetition of the Amidah. And we'll talk about that next week, hopefully, if we get there. We open the Amidah, and then when we get to the repetition, that part is in this Fragish mode as well. So same Nusach. What I'd like to do, we have 13 minutes left. I just want to look a little bit at these prayers. So La'el Asher Shabbat, page 152. Will someone volunteer to read that, starting at the top of the page and the paragraph just below it? Ellen.
Or I unmute myself. Okay.
Yeah, I just did it.
Who ceased?
Mm-hmm.
Who ceased work on the seventh day and ascended the throne of praise, robed in majesty for the day of rest, calling Shabbat a delight. Such is the distinction of the seventh day that God ceased all work, and so the seventh day itself praises God and says, a song of Shabbat, it is good to thank Adonai. Let all creatures likewise celebrate and bless God, offering praise, honor, and glory to God, the ruler, creator of all, who in holiness grants peaceful rest to the people of Israel on the holy Shabbat. May your name, Adonai, our God, be hallowed, and may the thought of you, our sovereign, be celebrated in the heavens above and on earth below. Though the praise due you, our Redeemer, is beyond any offered by your handiwork or the lights you have made, may they continue always to sing your glory.
Thank you. Thank you. So this paragraph, I didn't read this in any commentary, but it's my own observation. I think, except for some mentions in Posukei Zemra, but in Shacharit, I think this is actually the first explicit mention of Shabbat. Up until this point, we've talked about God, being uplifted and exalted. And then we talked about God being creator and bringing forth the sun and the moon and the stars and the planets and the light. But now here at La'el Asher Shabbat, we're mentioning the seventh day and we're mentioning Shabbat. And no one told me this, but I think, to me, it makes sense. Maybe this is why the Nusach changes here, why we go into this new mode, because now all of a sudden we are focusing on Shabbat, specifically Shabbat. Maybe. Something that I read from Rabbi Elliot Dorff, is that in this paragraph, there are mentions of God. There's a tension between the universal and the particular. There's mention of God being creator of all, but then there's also mention of our God. And so there's sort of like this universal character of God and this really personal, particular relationship with God. It reminds me of a teaching I heard from David Sachs, who I think I mentioned last week, and I mention him a lot because he's one of my favorite teachers. And he says that the miracle of God is that the whole world, this is sort of a mystical Hasidic idea, but the whole world is just God and you. The whole world is just God and you, God and Amy. But the miracle of God is that while the entire world is just God and me, or God and you, is that it's simultaneously God and you, for you and you and you and you. And that's the miracle that's happening, that the entire world is working on this level of intimate relationship, but it's happening simultaneously. I like that idea. Let's move on. So if you wanted to characterize, for me, it helps to kind of characterize sections of the prayers by a single word or a single thought. So for me, this paragraph is Shabbat, and it's also God ascending his throne. In fact, there's a teaching that just because of the very first part of this paragraph, La'el asher shafat mikol hamasim, when God ceased to work on the seventh day and ascended the throne of praise, robed in majesty for the day of rest, calling Shabbat a delight. There's a teaching that God did not actually become the sovereign. This is just, like a midrashic idea, until he'd been so busy, creating. It wasn't until Shabbat, or some people actually say until after Shabbat, whatever. It wasn't until Shabbat that God actually took his throne. So it's an interesting idea. Let's move to the next page. It's 153. Yes, please comment.
Top of page 152.
Yep.
Is entire first paragraph chanted by?
Thank you.
Or is it davened silently?
So great question. So you should open it and close it at the arrow. So I would just open either the first phrase or the first sentence. I usually do the whole first sentence, but you could just do La'el asher shavad mikol hamasim, mumble, and then get down to the arrow. Tidbarak Moshienu al shevak maseh yadecha va'al ma'oreo shesita yafaruch hasela. I do the whole first sentence. You don't have to do that. I go, La'el asher shavad mikol hamasim, bayom hashvi'i hitala vayashav al kisei chevodo, tiferet ata liyom hamenucha, onen kara liyom hashabat. Mumble, until I get to the arrow. So any other questions on this page before we move on? So let's just take a look at 153. So we're just down to about 7 minutes left in the class. So I want to just touch on this page. You should read this page in English for yourself at home. But if you wanted to sum it up in one word, does anyone have some ideas what that word could be? Just glancing at it.
Amy, for those of us who don't have that Siddur, what is page 153?
Oh, it starts with Tiparak Tzarenu Malkeinu V'Goalenu Borei Kedoshim, and it ends with Baruch Atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. This is the very final bit of the Yotzer Or section. And it's called the sitting Kedusha because we sit and because we do the Kedusha, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot. If I was going to pick a word, anyone have some thoughts?
Praise.
Praise, yes, that's a good one. And who is doing the praising here? God or sovereign? Yes, thank you. Who are the ones doing the praising on this page?
Isn't it all of us?
Someone said it. It's angels. This whole page is about the angels, and they're taking from pieces of scripture in Nevi'im when the angels are actually saying these words, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech ha'aretz kavodo, and Baruch kavod Adonai mimkomo. Those phrases are coming from Isaiah and Ezekiel.
Isn't that what their job is to do that?
Right. Before
the throne and praise?
Right. So if you read this page carefully, let me back up just briefly. We said the Baruch Hu, we opened this Yotzer Or section with talking about nature, the sun, the sunrise, the moon, the stars, and about light and God illuminating the world and creating the world and sustaining the world. Then we moved into a little bit more mystical embellishment on that with El Adon. If you read that, there's a lot of mystical language and references to the chariot and the cherubim and the seraphim. And now we're talking specifically about the angels who are praising God. And this section of the prayer actually happens every single day. It happens in the weekday prayers as well and in Shabbat. And so it's a really amazing section. And then it ends with the bracha, with Or Chadash al Tzion Ta'er v'nizkecha lanu mehara le'orot, Baruch Atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. So cause a new light to shine in Zion, and may we all soon be worthy of its illumination. Blessed are you, God, creator of lights. So we started the section with light, which was like a natural light, the sun and the moon and the stars. And we've moved to this sort of like ultimate light, which is like the temple in Jerusalem and all the holy beings praising God. So this whole section is about light, and we've moved from kind of like nature to like supernatural. I just want to touch on the next page, which is the second bracha before Shema. Remember, we have 2 brachas before Shema, and one of them is the light that we talked about, that's the Yotzer Or, and the second one is Ahavah Rabbah, the love section. So it's light and it's love before Shema. And all of them are being, this whole section after Eladon is being chanted in the Nusach that we talked about. The love section begins here with Ahavah Rabbah, a great love. Ahavah Rabbah Ahavtan, with a great love you have loved us. And would somebody like to read in English this paragraph on 154, or whatever Siddur you're using? You have loved us deeply. Susan. I got you. Here. There you go. Oh, wait, hold on. You're still muted. It's not letting me unmute you. You're going to have to unmute yourself, I think.
Sorry.
Okay.
I think I can touch the screen. No, I did it then. Okay. Okay. You have loved us deeply, Adonai our God, and showered us with boundless compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, for the sake of our ancestors who trusted in you and to whom you taught the laws of life, so may you be gracious to us and instruct us. Kind Creator, have compassion for us. Open our hearts so that we may understand and discern, hear and study, observe, perform, and fulfill all the teachings of your Torah with love. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Attach our hearts to your mitzvot. Unify our hearts to love and revere your name so that we never lose hope. And we trust in your great, holy, awe-inspiring name. We will delight and rejoice in your deliverance.
Thank you for reading that. Because we're almost out of time, I'm just going to make one final comment about this section, and then we can pick up more next week. But you can hear some of the words and some of the key ideas in here that have to do with love. But one that is standing out to me is that we're addressing God in the second person, or we're saying you. We're saying so. Where other sections of the prayer just speak of God, as a third person, entity. Here we're addressing God personally, you. I heard a teaching once, I've said this in prayer song before, that there's many names of God, but the most intimate name of God is Ata, you. And I love that thought in this section, in the Ahavah Rabbah section, and the love section, is that we're speaking to Ata, to God, to you, and there's this intimacy and in this section. It goes on to the Vahereinenu section and Vahavienu, where we gather our tzitzit. We'll talk more about that next week. So for this week, practice the new Nusach, and come next week ready to share something if you'd like. I'd love to hear you to do any part of it. Just before we go, I'd just like to mention that it is Yom HaZikaron tonight. And it's a Memorial Day in Israel, going into Yom HaTzmaut tomorrow night. And I also know that there are some who may want to say Kaddish here, and since we have done some study, it is appropriate for us to do Kaddish. So in honor, or in memory for Yom HaZikaron, and for anyone who would like to say Kaddish, I'm going to pull that up right now. And let's do that. And before we go, so I'm going to go ahead and invite you to unmute yourselves if you'd like, so that way you can respond with Amen, even though it's a little cacophonous. It's nice to hear that on a Kaddish. I'll lead it. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach hirotei, ve'amlich malchotei. V'chayechon v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agalav v'zman kariv, v'miru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei alaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekodsha v'chu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'miru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'miru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'miru. Amen. And one last thing before we go. We're going to count the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer hayom tisha asar yom shehem shnei shavuot v'chamisha yamim la'omer. So tonight is the 19th day of the Omer, which is 2 weeks and 5 days of the Omer. So 19 days. Okay, I kind of recall, I have to look it up. I feel like Ezra was born on the 19th day of the Omer, but I could be wrong about that. I have to look that up. Anyways. Blessings to you, Lila Tov. Thank you guys for being here. We have one more week left, so I hope you can all be here next week, and we'll wrap it up. Thanks so much. We've covered a lot of ground.
Thank you,
Amy.
Amy.
Amy, can I jump in with a question, Amy?
Sure.
Is there a way that I could maybe borrow a siddur from shul? Like maybe drop by there. Oh, Helene, I was hoping that you would hear this too.
Yes, sure. So just let me know. Call ahead, and I can put one out inside the office for you to pick up, and then
that would be amazing.
Yeah, we've been lending them out to people as they need it, because the gift shop doesn't have any more to sell anyways. But as long as you promise to bring it back when this is all over.
I promise. Yeah, I promise.
I know where to find you.
Okay.
Great question.
Elaine, I was going to ask if I could buy one. I can't seem to find. Okay, you don't have them.
Yeah, the gift shop is all out, so we're just lending them out on your honor.
I'm too far. I'm in New York, so it's.
Oh, well, you can order it from the Rabbinical Assembly, or you can download a copy of it from our website.
I did. It doesn't print right. It's weird.
Okay.
I printed the whole thing, and then I have all this paper and nothing printed right.
Gotcha.
Okay. I'll go to the Rabbinical Assembly.
Thank you.
Helene, how do I get in touch with you, Helene? Sorry, everyone.
You can call the office, 714.
Oh, somebody's at the office. They're answering the phone.
I'm at the office every day.
Oh,
me, myself, and I.
Okay, I have the number then. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you.
You will. Thank you. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
Bye.
Okay. Good night.
Lila Tov.
Lila Tov.
I don't like to get out of here. I never know how to get close to the video, maybe?